Judas responds, "But how can you see that I'm not good? What is wrong with me? Am I lame? Am I ugly looking?" "No, but you frighten me." "Why?" asks the Iscariot, going near him. "I don't know. Leave me alone. Don't touch me or I will scratch you." "What a hedgehog. You are silly." Judas gives a forced laugh. "I'm not silly. You are bad." And the boy takes shelter in the lap of Jesus, who caresses him without speaking. In the episode that I'm going to relate now, we find that there's a boy aged about 9 years old who senses that there's something deeply wrong with Judas Iscariot. There's nothing on the surface to suggest this. In fact, everything looks normal about Judas and the rest of the apostles. But he picks up something about Judas Iscariot. We're at chapter 184, which I've spent some time on. We're at Magdala, in the house of Benjamin's mother. We don't learn the name of the mother, but we learn the name of Benjamin, her son, her oldest son. We just had Jesus come into Magdala and encounter the unrepentant Mary Magdalene, who's been the cause of a near homicide through jealousy between two men, one of whom, a Roman, has stabbed in the heart a Jew, who also wishes to be her lover, or is her lover, and Jesus cures that man. Now Jesus has gone to the poorer part of Magdala, and he's in the house of this woman. And so now the apostles are talking to the boy Benjamin. "Can you read?" asks Thaddeus. "Yes, but very slowly, because the teacher throws me out almost every day." "What did I say?" exclaims Bartholomew. "But I behave like that because the teacher is old and ugly and says the same things all the time and makes you fall asleep. If he were like him," and he points to Jesus, "I would pay attention." "Do you hit those who sleep or play?" Jesus replies, "I do not hit anybody. But I say to my pupils, pay attention for your own good and for my sake. But if you are good, the teacher will love you." The child replies, "Do you love only those who are good? You just said that you were patient with this man here, who was not good." The child's logic is cogent. "I'm good with everybody, but when one becomes good, I love that one very much, and I'm very good too." The boy is pensive. He then looks up and asks Matthew, "And what did you do to become good?" Matthew replies, "I loved him." The boy becomes pensive again, and then, looking at the 12, asks Jesus, "Are these ones all good?" Jesus replies, "Of course they are." "Are you sure?" the boy says. "I sometimes behave as a good boy, but that is when I'm thinking of some big mischief." They all burst into laughter. Also, the little fellow, who is in a confessing humour, laughs. Also, Jesus laughs, pressing him to his heart and kissing him. Just before I go on there, in another commentary, can't remember where, Jesus says that in the gospel, the only time he laughs is when he's around children or it's caused by children. Never any other time. So when we see here that Jesus laughs, we should treasure that, because our Lord is a man of sorrows, and it wasn't just during the Passion Week. Anyway, to continue. The boy, who is now friendly with everybody, wants to play and says, "I will now tell you who is good." and he begins his selection. He looks at them all and goes straight to John and Andrew, who are nearby, and says, "You and you, come here." He then chooses the 2 Jameses and places them with the other 2. He then takes Thaddeus. He's quite pensive in front of the Zealot and Bartholomew and says, "You are old, but good." And he joins them to the others. He examines Peter, who undergoes the examination, jokingly frowning at him, and finds him to be good. Also Matthew and Philip pass the examination. He says to Thomas, "You laugh too much. I'm in earnest. Don't you know that my teacher says that he who always laughs fails in the test?" After all, also Thomas passes his examination, but with low marks. The boy then goes back to Jesus. "Hey, you urchin, I'm here too. I'm not a tree. I'm young and handsome. Why don't you examine me?" says the Iscariot. "Because I don't like you. My mother says that when you don't like something, you must not touch it. You just leave it on the table so that other people who may like it can take it. And she also says that if you are offered something which you do not like, you must not say, 'I do not like it,' but you say, 'Thank you, but I'm not hungry, and I do not hunger for you.'" The Iscariot replies, "Why not? Look, if you say that I'm good, I will give you this coin." The boy replies, "What am I going to do with it? What can I buy with a lie? Mummy says that the money which is the fruit of deceit becomes straw. Once at my grandmother's, I got them to give me a didrachma by telling a lie because I wanted to buy some honey cakes. And during the night, it turned into straw. I put it in that hole over there under the door to take it the following morning, but I found a handful of straw in its place." Judas responds, "But how can you see that I'm not good? What is wrong with me? Am I lame? Am I ugly looking?" "No, but you frighten me." "Why?" asks the Iscariot, going near him. "I don't know. Leave me alone. Don't touch me or I will scratch you." "What a hedgehog. You are silly." Judas gives a forced laugh. "I'm not silly. You are bad." And the boy takes shelter in the lap of Jesus, who caresses him without speaking. The apostles make fun of the situation, which is not very pleasant to the Iscariot. So I'll stop there. We can see that very interesting point. The boy goes into the lap of Jesus, who caresses him without speaking. The boy clearly has a spiritual sensitivity, which none of the other apostles had at that point anyway, and which really do show there was something deeply wrong with Judas Iscariot. And we know the rest of the story, the culmination of that problem of his.